Amici di Virgin Radio, è con grandissimo piacere che oggi abbiamo un ospite internazionale che è tornato a trovarci nei nostri studi per presentare il nuovo lavoro della sua band. Welcome Brian, how's it going?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
We are here to present the brand new album from Placebo, and Loud Like Love. Few words to describe it in your opinion.
It's a very colorful record, I think. Sonically, it's quite eclectic. It's a very honest and direct record. It's emotional and vulnerable.
Something that I discovered through new production of different bands, there's a lot of positive feelings inside nowadays music biz. How is possible with all the crisis? I mean, in the lyrics...
Is there really?
Yeah.
Do you mean in the industry?
Yeah, in the industry.
Well, I just think the industry is adapting, to new technology, as it always has. I mean, there was a time when the new technology was sheet music, and that was kind of the albums of that era. Sheet music was created so that people could play the songs they loved at home, and then technology has just evolved from there. And I think the industry is just adapting slowly to the new technology that's coming out. The technology itself is moving so fast that it's, I think, difficult for the industry to keep up with it, but they are adapting.
Single, Too Many Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Its lyrics made me think a lot. I heard that you said that it's a song about against social.
No, I never said it was against social networking.
I thought so. Can you explain why?
People think that I'm against technology, but I'm not. I'm fascinated by technology, and technology has made my life in many ways, has improved it, Video conferencing, for example, I'm able to stay in touch with people who are very important to me in a much more intimate way. And technology in the recording studio is another example that has made our lives, it's enriched our lives, I don't think that technology is the problem. I think the problem is the same as it has been since the beginning of time. And unfortunately, the problem is human beings. It's how they use the technology. The internet is a fantastic platform, but it's very democratic. It's provided a voice for the forces of tolerance in this world, but it has also provided an equal voice for the forces of hatred. This is natural. This is the yin and yang, if you will, of everything, of life. The microcosm that technology is and the effect that it has on us as a society and as a community is a reflection of that. And I personally am very fascinated by how it has affected us as a community. If you think back, let's say, 100 years, community was a very, very different thing. It existed in the physical world, in the real world. Society was community-based. That was how people interacted with each other. These days, community is virtual, more and more so. People don't know their neighbors. They know thousands of people that they've never met. This is really interesting. It's such a change, such an enormous change, that I can't help, as an observer of human beings, because that's what I write about. I write about people. I can't help but be completely fascinated by this. It's a very exciting time to live in, because it's moving so fast.
I think that maybe the disease of this age is that sometimes it's easier to say, I'm alone, I have no friends, than caring about people that love you.
Ooh, that's a difficult question to answer. I think if you have the attitude that I'm alone and I have no friends, that's a self-pitying attitude, You have to make an effort to have friends, to connect with people in the real world. It takes effort. And because you can't control it, you can't control the outcome of physical connection and interaction like you can on the internet. On the internet, you can edit yourself and you can present yourself in the way that you wish to be perceived. In the real world, you can't do that, you know? So you have to take a risk. You have to be vulnerable with someone else in order to make a real emotional and physical, an emotional connection in the physical world. Now, the thing is that it's much easier to not do that. The screen of a smartphone or of a tablet, it's bright, it's seductive. I know. I love my smartphone and my tablet, and I use it for work, and I use it for personal things. But when I go to a restaurant, my smartphone stays in my bag. You know, I want to connect. I'm not against the smartphone. You know, it's extremely useful. It's a great piece of technology. That's essentially the malaise. People are letting themselves be seduced, you know? And I think that's what I'm trying to say, you know? Real physical contact, real connection in the physical world. Excuse me, because physical contact might be interpreted as something else, which is great. But that it takes effort. And perhaps some of us are getting out of practice with it, you know? I was in a coffee house 3 days ago, okay? And I saw something that blew my mind. The guy before me, he ordered his coffee, he got his coffee. The whole time, he had his smartphone, and he had all his messages up, you know? Then he goes over to the area where you get the sugar and the sweetener and the stirrer, right? And he couldn't put sugar in his coffee and stir it without checking his messages at the same time, you know? This is intense. This is amazing. It's incredible how powerful, you know, this technology has become. And it's insidious. It's everywhere. So it's our relationship to it, I think, that is significant.